Hello and welcome back to part 2 of the Eduard Mark 1 Spitfire build. So in the last video we started on the cockpit, and where we're actually at now is I've just undercoated and primed the inside of the walls panels in Mr. Surfacer Black, and that's come up really nice on both sides there, as well as the frame for the seat. That's also done in black. And now what I've got to do now is I'm going to mask off these little parts here, because this is divided into the green here we've got. So we've got the XF71 I'm using here. That's the green that's going to be in there. And there's also part of the panel is also going to be aluminium color, which, let me just check on that. Yes, it will be aluminium. So what I'm going to do is the aluminium goes right up to, if you can see, there's a line in the panel just here. Yep, so there's a line in the panel just here, and that's where the aluminium will start. So what I'll do is I'll paint pretty much most of the surface is going to be the green. I'll do that. I'm not worried about overspray, because I'll use some masking tape to mask it to put the aluminium over the top, so that'll be fine. This will all be in the green, so that's not a problem at all. There are a couple of black areas on here, a couple of panels in here that are going to be flat black, and I've decided I'll do them with a paintbrush. I've got the flat back, which is XF1 here, doing a paintbrush. Now we've got some small parts to go on here as well. This little piece here, which is going to go, if I remember right, in here someplace, it's both this color and flat black. So what I'll do again is I'll do it all this color, and then I'll go over with a very fine brush and paint in the black, flat black sections. A couple other pieces here which all be brush painted. They're just too small to be bothered trying to airbrush them. I'm also not going to prime them at all either. I'll just paint straight over the top. They're small. Now there's a couple of tanks down here. I think they're oxygen tanks. There's the bits that you would have seen me do the photo etch along the top of, and they're going to be grey. So again, that could be done separately. A little bit bigger than normal, but I may airbrush that just to get a better finish. I might even undercoat that with the black as well. See how that comes up. The reason for the black is you get a bit of shadow detail in the corners and edges of all the marks and lines in the panels, and I think it just gives it a more of a realistic look. You'll see what I mean. Otherwise, that's about it. So yeah, I'm going to go and get some of this beautiful looking green on, and we'll come back and take a look and see how it's going. All right, I'll be back again shortly. Hey, just a bit of an update here. I've just realized that the frame for the seat has these little marks around them that are supposed to look like they're like holes that go through, but they don't go right through. After looking at some reference images, they do. So what I've decided to do was to drill them out so they look a bit more realistic. So what I've got is I've got a 0.7 millimeter drill bit. These are the Icky Sticky tungsten drill bits, and I'm just drilling out the 6 at the top, and then there's about half a dozen down each side, and I'm going to drill them out. There's also one at the top here, 2 at the top. No, they don't get drilled out, so I'm just going to do those. So it's just going to give it that more, I mean, it is steel or aluminium or whatever it is, probably steel, and they are drilled out in the real aircraft, so why not make it look as real as I possibly can. So next time I'll make sure I do that before I paint. That doesn't really matter, it's only the primer coat that's on there. But yeah, that's drilling out there, coming out really nice. I'll put a photo up in the corner so you can see a bit better, because it is quite small, of when it's all drilled out, and you'll see just how much better it looks. Okay, I'll continue on. All right, welcome back again. So the green is on, looking really nice too, I must say. It looks really good. I like the color. And the masking tape is only just to remind me which end is going to be done in the aluminium. I can take those off now. That doesn't really matter. This bit's going to be done aluminium, which is the next thing I'm going to do. I'll just take these bits off. So what I'll do is I'll mask the area where I don't want the aluminium going over the green, and I'll get them sprayed up next. This thing's done. You'll see the holes. I'll put a photo up in the corner up there or there. You can have a closer look at it, but it looks much better with the holes drilled out. It really does, as you can see. We've also got all these little parts here done in the green as well, and they'll be able to get put on where they're supposed to go. There's one bit there that I think is ready to go on there, or maybe it's black. Yeah, I think it's one of these black pieces that goes on the top of that frame. If I take that off, you'll see that the seat's going to mount on that side, and up on there will be one of those little black pieces. So, yeah, it's come up really well. So what I'll do now is, like I said, I'm going to get those masked up. I'll just show you what that looks like when it's masked up. And like I say, I've got Icky Sticky, of course, all the masking varieties there in a nice little rack to keep them neat and tidy. And I'll be using that. And then and I'll put some of these bits that I can put on here. And that will finish that bit. We'll go back and have a look at the instructions and see where we're at. But yeah, I love that color. It looks really good. Okay, I'll be back again in a second. Okay, welcome back. There's our silver aluminium sprayed. I'm lucky I had two little pots of aluminium, because one of it's I don't know what's wrong with it. It's really like watery and not very good at all. And when I went to stir it up, it's all gone all gluggy in the bottom. So anyway, but there we go. I've just sprayed that. So what I'll do now is, I don't like leaving masking tape any longer than it needs to be. So I can, I'm just going to take that off now. Just like that. There we go. Very good. This piece off there, and there's our nice straight line that we want. That's sort of going to sit, I think it's going to sit that way. Yeah, it's going to sit that way. I'll put that there. And this piece as well, got that done. And I'll take the tape off it as well. Okay. There we go. And another beautiful straight line that we want. And of course this piece, the other one came off, but this, as I showed when I attached it, this is done with just a touch of CA glue on the end of the toothpick, and then I use that so it instantly sets, and it's connected to a part of the part that won't be seen. And to take that off, it's as simple as that. And I could reuse that if I wanted to, but not a problem. That, there's a little bit of glue. That's just a matter of just giving that a bit of a wipe, but that won't be seen where it's going. And there we go. So we've got that and that, which is left and right side. I think that's going to go something like that anyway. There we go. Clean up my mess here a little bit. So yeah. I will let that dry before I handle it too much, but let me just tidy up here and we'll start putting a few pieces on. I think we can do that now. Okay, we're back in a second. Okay, so we have a little black shelf, it looks like, that's going to sit just in there. Then we've got this little round piece that's going to sit on here. Now there's a little square section here and this part here that has to be painted flat black as well. Unfortunately today I couldn't find anywhere to buy any little brushes, and my scraggly little brush I've got is just, yeah, it's not going to do the job. So I'm going to have to hold off until tomorrow when I go get some small little brushes. But I can still put these two on. And also over here will be the tanks. That's these here. That's these, but I have to paint them. They have to be painted grey. So I will be doing those shortly. I'll do them grey. And then there's a little green piece that will sit down on here. That's R15. That's over on here. So I'll attach that as well. And then there's another piece that sitting. It's like a sort of a handle up there. I need to look up what these parts are. But again, it needs a touch with a fine brush before I put it on there as well. So I'm a little bit restricted on what I can do. Other than that, I'll put these on. And then as for the back of the seat, there's a little round piece that was a little round bit of photo etch that will sit down in the corner. There it is there, painted black. So I'll be able to attach that. All right. And yeah, progress a bit further. So I'm just having a look at the other panel. We could probably put a few things on this panel as well that have already got painted up. Yeah. So this here with the handle is green, but the handle's black, so I can hand paint that black. My furry brush will do that okay, and then that can go onto there. And flat black, I think that's it. There is a couple of things on that piece that are already molded on that need to be black, which I'm going to need my fine new brush for, so I'm not going to risk it. Yeah, other than that, we're good. So I'll come back with a bit more done and we'll have a look at the progress. Back in a sec. Okay, look what we've got done. I've got all the parts on those. I can't say step 1 or step 2 because there are no steps. It's just page by page, you just work along. So, but the sections, the first 2 sections of the instructions, which is the wall of the cockpit on both sides, is done, at least up to that area. This is the support frame for the seat. That's all good. It's come up really well. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I've just done the tanks in there. Not sure what they are. They're probably oxygen tanks. I'm not sure. I am going to be watching a documentary about a Spitfire that's being restored. It's a series on YouTube that'll be interesting for me to learn what I'm looking at anyway, and I can put names to most of these parts. So that's fantastic. What do you think of that? Let me know in the comments. But it's not over yet. What I'm going to do now is put that aside and move further down the page 1. And let me just grab that over here and we'll take a look at where we're up to. Okay, so we've got all that done and all that part there done, which is this exploded view showing all the detail, all in reference to the aircraft I'm building, which is E. Okay, so some parts weren't added, like this part wasn't there and a couple other things. So you just got to be aware and check on that. And now we're moving down to here, which is, I think that's the joystick controller. The joystick, yeah. And this looks like the frame, or it is the frame of the seat. And then we'll actually be doing the seat itself, and looks like some of the floor there and the part down where the controls are. So a little bit of work to do there. And now another tip I wanted to let you guys know is with blue tack, if you find that, like I do, and I put pieces to hold them in place with blue tack, and when you go and take the piece off, sometimes you might get a bit of blue tack still stuck to the bottom of the piece. All right. The worst thing you can do is to grab one of your knives and scrape it off, right? Or, don't do that. Don't do that. The easiest way is always keep a nice clean ball of blue tack somewhere to the side, right? And all you do is you just tap it on the piece where the bits of blue tack have stuck to it, and it'll all come off. This will act as a like a sticky tape sort of thing, and it'll take it all off, and you'll be left with a piece without a single mark on it. and then just roll it into the piece. And so tip of the day, tip of the video. Maybe there'll be more to come. We'll see. All right. So yeah, let's get our sprue out, get some parts ready, and move on. I'll be back shortly. All right. So I've got some of these parts off here. So there's a tiniest little piece of photo etch that goes on a tiniest little piece. These are minute. So we've got this little piece here, which is, look at that. You can see that it's like a little ring, right? Well, this is the controller for the aircraft, and it comes with the button for the fire button for the guns. All right. Now, I had to paint that the green on the bottom. This is tiny. I still haven't bought new brushes. I need to buy new brushes. The shop up the road is completely gone that used to be there. It was the only place I knew around here where I might be able to get them. Now I'm going to have to make a special trip to a shopping centre and find them. But this is getting okay. I can do this. So the ring, which is the part the pilot holds, is going to be done in flat black, which I've got here. I'll do. Excuse me. I'll do that. Then there is. It's too hard to see, but there's a tiny little bit on the top there, which will be aluminium color. I've got that over there ready. That is the actual button or switch for the guns. And I'm just trying to check, put my magnifying glasses on to read the instructions. Red. Yeah, so it's aluminium colored, but there's also red in there as well, which is the actual switch. I'm pretty sure is the switch. Yeah, and the photo etch piece that goes across here, which we're going to take off this here, number 17 it is really tiny. It's there, and that'll go inside across like that. And it has to be done aluminium, which is what the color of the photo etch is anyway, being the steel. So I probably won't touch that. I might just leave that as it is. And when I put that on. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, this piece here, I accidentally took that off mistake. That's the control arm where this sits on the top of. Okay, that's going to be sticking up in front of between the pilot's legs in front of him, and that'll connect onto there. But I jumped ahead because I was a little bit confused. So we'll put that where I won't lose it. That's still a couple of steps away. And then after that, we'll move into the frames on the side of the pilot's seat. All right. So I'll get this done. I'll get this painted up. Those tiny bits glued on. We'll take a look at that. And then I'll take the other part off. There's a few parts we need for the two sides of the seat. Okay. All right. Back again in a second. Okay. Welcome back as we continue on with the cockpit here. What I've got here is the base of the seat. This is the sort of the what the seat sits on. I'll give you a look from the instructions here, it'll be easier. So we're working on this. Is it there? Okay. Now, I look like I've jumped down a little bit ahead, but in reality, what's happened is I've put this together, and I'll put a photo up in the top corner there because it is so small. I had to use the macro lens on my phone just to get a photo of it. That's your control with the fire button on the I don't know what you call that. Terrible, aren't I? Anyway, that's done, as you can see, and painted up, and it's come up really well. Now I've got this here, which is the frame it connects to the top of, and then there's a bit of a lever there, so that's to operate it by the pilot. I think he holds it that way. And here's where the seat base sits on. All right. So what's happened is that these parts are all got to be done in the grey-green color. So because I want to get I've jumped a little bit ahead because I just want to mix some of the paint. I just want to put some of the paint in the airbrush once. And do a few parts at the same time. So what I'm doing is I'm about to put this together, that little frame at the bottom. Now, what I've done is I've got a bit of blue tack sitting on this tile, and that holds the piece in place for me. whilst I just put this up against the side, and then I'll come along with my cement and just touch it there. Just touch it there, and that will glue that piece on. And then, of course, I'll do the other part, which is this one, and that's going to go at the other end like that. If I can get that to balance there. No, it won't, but it will. It will. And just touch that in there. Okay, it gives you that extra hand having that blue tack in the piece in place. Otherwise, it's just going to be moving everywhere. All right. With this stuff, you just need a touch. You don't need to run this along the length of where the piece is connecting with the plastic. All right. This stuff wicks across the plastic. So one touch in the corner there, and it will just go along and fill the whole connection. All right. Don't need to over apply it. I see a lot of people just putting on too much and over applying it when not that you use much of this stuff, it lasts forever, but yeah, it just needs a tiny little bit, and it'll just wick its way along there. This piece will also go on there. That sort of sticks up. I'm not sure what that part is, but basically when I've got this together, it will connect onto that. All right, so the two holes that are in the back of that, those two holes are where these two prongs at the back go through. Okay, it'll slide onto the back of that. I was going to put it all together at first, then paint it, but I thought, no, I'll do them separately. So I'll put them all on my chopstick here, which is what I use to hold and paint my parts with the blue tack on there. And then I'll do them all the grey-green. That'll be done all the grey-green in one shot. And then I'll connect that onto there. And as for the seat, we've got a little piece that sits on the side of the railing on the side of the seat, the frame, which is in here. Okay, it'll connect onto that. That's also going to be grey-green. This is going to be flat black, and so is the seat. Now, there is an option to do this, the grey-green as well, but it doesn't say any particular aircraft. It just says option grey-green or flat black. I'm just going to go with matching the seat and do it flat black. So that's that. There's also one of these for the other side as well. It's just that this one has what looks like a little, this here little lever is going to go on the side of it, right? So that's added, and then the other one will just slot on the other side of the seat, which I haven't taken off the sprue yet. We haven't got to that point. So, but as for that piece that you saw with the photograph, that's how tiny that was. You can see, minute. And it wasn't until I looked at it through the photo that the aluminium button on the thing, I didn't get that exactly straight. So what I'll have to do is go back with my, I'm using one of these pens and just touch it on there, probably while I'm looking at it through the camera, because even with these magnifying glasses on, I can't see that. It's that small. Incredible, isn't it? So I missed it trying to get it that silver aluminium button done. But anyway, it's all good. And besides, who's going to see that? You know, I mean, I know it, so I want to make it right. You know. Okay, so I'm going to put this together, put them on my chopstick here, and go and put some paint on them. I won't prime them. These tiny little parts, I don't bother priming. I don't see any need to do that. Putting a undercoat on them, and then we'll be moving on to probably getting the seat. There's two seats in here, one that's got like a ribbed effect on the backrest, and one that hasn't. And again, it's optional which one you use, and it doesn't matter which plane you're building. You can use either one. I just think the little bit of extra effect showing the ribbed bit on the back looks better than just plain. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's probably a padded version. I don't know. I'm just having a look. Yeah, see, in the instructions here, there's a question mark there, which means optional when you go looking at the key for the symbols. And it's saying for U1 or U7. U1 has these bits on the back, and the U7, or one or the other, doesn't. I think that looks better. Yeah. Okay. We want our pilot to be comfortable. I'll continue on, and I'll be back in a second. We'll have a look at these bits and pieces painted. Okay, so I've got those painted. Now I decided to undercoat, put a primer on after all. I'm putting the black primer. I've done the Mr. Surfer black just because I want a bit more shadow detail in those parts for when I put the layer over the top, and it's just gonna, you'll see what I mean. It's gonna look much better if it's had a black underneath it, especially that the frame that it sits on, because there's lots of parts to that. So I've done it in black. So it means just means waiting for that to dry and then putting the final coat. But in the meantime, while things dry, we move on. Here's our seat. Here's the one I'm going to use with the ribs in the back. So we'll use that. Now, what we've got to do is this little section here is part of the metal frame of the aircraft cockpit area. That needs to be cut off. All right, we need to remove that out, throw that away, and replace it with some photo etch. Lovely photo etch. So there's a piece in there, it's number 33. Just needs to be folded down, and then there's two ends that block where, see on here, you can see straight through there. It's like that, whereas when it's the photo etch replacement's made, that'll be blocked off. So it'll look more of a solid piece. So that needs to be put on. But before we can put it on, it needs to be a different color. Okay, so the seat's going to be matte black or flat black, but that needs to be the grey green. All right, so the photo etch. So no problem. What I'll do is I'll take this off. I'll bend it first and get it right. It's got these tiny little holes in it. Might be enough, large enough to put my a toothpick through to act as something to hold it, and then I can paint it. Otherwise, we'll just use the usual blue tack trick to hold it in place and give it a coat of paint. Being photo etch, and I know it's a small part, but I will definitely use primer on that as well. Probably the black primer, because it just gives that layer extra under the paint, the green, because I don't want any metal glinting through that if it got scratched or marked where it shouldn't, which is also why I want to bend it before I paint it. All right, just makes sense, doesn't it? So I'll do that, and of course we'll be able to paint these black. I'll take these, tidy those pieces up, and get them painted black as well. Yeah. Now also I noticed on the instructions here that we've got this back plate here that goes behind the seat. Now it's saying here for markings D and J only, and it's R12 or PE39. So there is a photo etch part. There it is there. You can see that there. I'll move it over a bit because I've zoomed the camera in. That's it there. Or you can use the plastic part. There's a thicker plastic part. But either way won't matter to me because I'm building the plane that doesn't have that protection on the back, which is basically the only armor protecting the pilot. So yeah, my aircraft doesn't have that, so I won't be putting that on, just so you know. And then of course afterwards looks like we've got some photo etch seatbelts going on, but that's a little bit further down the track. So let's get on and get these parts bent and sorted out, ready to paint. And by the time I've done these, the other primer will be dry and I can go and put some stuff on that. All right, back shortly. Now, while we got the photo etch, we might as well show you how I go about bending it. Now, you could just hold them between your tweezers and use your finger and bend it. It does have a mark, a line under there to show you that this, when you turn it upside down, this piece is just going to bend upwards and these two will bend inwards. Okay, pretty simple, but it's just a little bit fiddly using tweezers. And so what I do is the old trusty tile. You can pick up these tiles at any tile place. They're just free samples. They'll give them out to you for nothing. I've had this since I've started modeling and it's fantastic. So it's a nice solid flat surface to work on. Now I have this little tool here, and this is it's actually a photo etch for bending, and all I'm going to do pretty much is just put it across there like that, and then I get my razor blade, which I didn't have prepared before I got this, so let me just find where my razor blade has disappeared to. Oh, it's up here. Okay, I'll show you this. So just grab a razor blade, press down on here, slide it underneath, bend it up, done. Okay. Now, the other alternative, if you have, if you want to, if you don't have a bending tool like that, just a little metal ruler. You pick these up in the hardware store or anywhere. Same thing. Pop that over there, bend it up, no problem. Or you can go and buy the professional equipment. This is by Master Tools. And this one here, you can turn it around and adjust it for all the different shapes you want to bend. Long flat side there that we'd probably want to use that. And all you do then is you would pick this up, slide it under there, tighten this down, and again using your razor blade, pop it up and bend it up like that. There are plastic versions of this too, but the razor blade is much thinner. It always works better for me. Yeah, but for more complicated pieces, these are pretty good. And for really delicate pieces, you can make handles and stuff on here. And there is a bigger version of this as well, in case you've got larger photo etch on a larger scale model. But for me, doing this one, I'm happy to drop that down there, put it on the line like that, hold it down, slide that under, bend it up, and it's done. There you go. And I'll just do the two ends and we're good. All right, and then that needs to be painted. In the meantime, I'm going to go and cut this piece off. I'm probably thinking of just using my snippers here because these are quite accurate and detailed and pretty cool. And then what I'll do is I'll just go along and sand it to make sure that the edge is nice and straight and flat for this to attach to. All right, so there you go. Bit of photo etching bending tutorial. Okay, back again shortly. Now, I just want to mention just how good these parts are fitting so far. The shape of those sides of this cockpit seat, the way it curves and fits in on the frame is just amazing. The way they've molded this and designed this, it just fits perfectly. This tiny little point in here, you know, it sits exactly where you want it, and it sits down right, and it no gaps, perfect. And just with a touch of your glue, it's on. You know, fantastic. Now also I've done my toothpick trick. So underneath where this metal photo etch piece is going to go, I've decided I'll make that as my attachment point. I need to cut that off yet. That's just part of the sprue, and I can't leave that on there. But I've just touched that in there. So all I did with the toothpick is got a bit of CA glue, touched it in the CA glue, and then put a touch of this on the plastic. And as soon as it touches there with the toothpick, it sticks. And there you go. You got yourself a handle to hold it while you're airbrushing. Okay. So, and as long as you do it in an inconspicuous spot like that, it won't matter that there's going to be a mark under there because it's going to get covered by the photo etch piece that's going in there. All right. So that's ready to undercoat. I will, even though that's going to be matte black, I will still black prime that piece and do it properly. No shortcuts. All right. Again, back shortly with hopefully some painted pieces. Okay, so look how we got this going. All these parts are all painted up now. I've just done the seat in the matte black. That's drying. And then that's it. All we got to do now is start putting some of these pieces together. And I was also just taking a quick look at the photo etch. And I'm noticing that the photo etch is already coloured. It's got sort of an off-white colour on the straps. They look really good. But at the moment, in this point in the instructions, we need P7 and PE8, which are those two there, which are the lap pieces that go across the around your waist, I would say they are. Yeah, lap straps, for a better word to use. So what I'll do is, while that's drying, I'll get these pieces off and ready. And we'll actually, once I put those on, because I've still got to attach this the green bit to the front where I've cut it off. Once that's detached, then I can put the seatbelt on, and then we'll actually be able to turn over the page and attach this to the frame on the back of the seat, which we've done earlier, which is that piece there. You see, it's looking really good. And then it all connects to the walls of the canopy, which we've done. So yeah, a bit of progress yet to happen. So let me get on to this and we'll get back in a sec. Okay, we're back and look at that. There we go. So we've got the seat in, we've got the harnesses on. That's the lap belts. There's still more to go. Everything's glued in against the wall of the cockpit there, so that all went in well. This back wall sits in there fine. It's a bit of a snug fit to get the seat to sit in there, and I was a little bit concerned. I still am a little bit concerned about this being straight. So what I did was I took the other wall, this one here, and I've just lined it up to see how well it goes up. And I'm a little bit concerned of where this side will fit in there. Okay. I think we'll be okay though. There's a little bit of play, so I can move it a little bit. So I think it'll be fine. I'm pretty confident, but that's not for a while before that goes on. So that we can put aside. All right. So yeah, it's come up really nice. I'll put a couple of photos up in the corner so you can see a little bit clearer and see how that's come up. So let me go bring the camera back out and I'll show you what we're up to with the instructions. Okay, so everything is done on the first page. We've got the two sides on, we've got the controller, that's all put on. We've got the two sides, like I said, on the seat. We attached the photo etch and replaced the plastic bit on there. The shielding on the back is not on our aircraft, so we didn't need to put that on. And we've put all the frame that the seat sits on is there. So that's done. And then we went over the page to here where, see, those sections that we put together were labeled A, B, and C. Right, so we did A, B, and C. And then here is just a matter of putting it up against the frame of the cockpit. So A went on top of there first. Then B went into there, although I recommend putting C on there first because it's a little bit harder once that's on to get that in, mainly because of these little supports that stick out. I'm thinking they probably slide down either side of that. I'm sorry if there's a bit of glare there. That's probably better. Yeah, they probably slide down that, so you would lower it down and it goes down over the edge on there, and it's a nice tight snug fit. You don't even have to glue it. In fact, I wouldn't even bother gluing it. It sits in there so tightly. Okay, so that's where we're at. So the next thing, there's no steps in here, so we're just onto this page, is probably, I'm looking at, I guess we'll go across to here where we're doing the shoulder harnesses. It's quite a large piece of photo etch there, and that's going to thread through the back of the frame on the back of the seat there and go obviously out here. You can see that it doesn't attach to anything at this point because we've still got more to add. So that looks like that goes on the seat next, and then we come into here, which is starting to work on the digital on the control panel and the frame for that. So yeah, lots of bits there. Some parts depending on the markings and which aircraft we're doing. So we'll have to check on, make sure we're doing that all correctly. And that's it. But yeah, but for the moment, that will do for this video. We'll come back and we'll see that, which will be in part 3. All right, so thanks all for watching, and please don't forget, your comments are welcome below with your tips and advice. Thank you for everybody who's commented in the last video and given me some pointers as well. And please don't forget, join me on the weekend for the live stream. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up for this video. That'd be great. And I'll see you in the next video, which will be part 3. All right, we'll move on with a bit further of this Spitfire. Okay, thanks everybody. Catch you later. Bye.